Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Product Management Vice President, Oracle Corporation, Vinay Kumar.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm so excited to be here today. For the last couple of years, I've been talking to a lot of Japanese customers and make them use our data centers and cloud services in North America and Europe. And finally, I'm glad to make all the services that we have built for global customers to make them available in Japan. Congratulations. And then, I also want to thank you for your patience for waiting long to get those services in Japan. Today, for the next 40 minutes or so, I'm going to talk to you about three things. Oracle Cloud, that is built on no compromise, and it's very complete and essentially fine-tuned for enterprises. Second, I also talk about how it is differentiated compared to other alternatives. And most importantly, I'm going to talk to you about how that is going to help you to bring your present and build your future on Oracle Cloud. Roughly 10 years ago, when I first logged in to a Generation 1 cloud, launched a computer, and built an application in less than a few hours, it felt so liberating, right? It felt everything is possible, and I don't have to really go and wait for 6 months of IT to give me what I wanted. But I quickly found out all the services that were built in the Generation 1 cloud were built for a developer or a startup and not optimized for enterprises. Because the security was an afterthought, right? There was no end-to-end encryption. There was a simple way where a user code can easily mix with a provider code. So there were a lot of confusion on how to think about security, both in terms of core security, as well as how do you govern it as an enterprise. Second, the performance was completely variable because the resources were oversubscribed. There was no guarantee that the performance you get this morning is what you're going to get this afternoon. And then, if you wanted predictable performance, you absolutely have to pay a lot of money for it. And the third part is, for enterprises, they were so they were so into building a lot of applications the traditional way. For example, they wanted a lot of options on databases, a lot of options on how do I manage my identity, how do I manage lots of traditional software that I deploy in the on-premise environment. There were no easy options to embrace it in a traditional Gen 1 cloud. So we took all of this, where we preserved all the good things that were good in the Gen 1 cloud, where it's easy to get started, they scale seamlessly, and I pay only what I use for. But I also wanted to make all the enterprise features available for my customers. So we built a best of both breed, and that's what we call the complete no-compromise cloud, primarily built for enterprises. Again, I can go on about this slide for a day, but I'll try to make it simple today. It all starts with a foundational aspects of building regions, building on a very strong physical network. And we have more than 8 regions available for customers to consume, more than 16 data centers that are live in commercial. And on top of it, we have built a lot of foundational core features, right? Core services such as compute, network, and storage that customers would love to bring their enterprise application onto our cloud. But we also spend a lot of time to make security a foundational capability on this cloud. And not to forget some of the governance and management capabilities, where how do you make sure that identity that you use in your on-prem is easily integrated into the cloud services? How do you make sure that the cost management that you do in the on-prem can easily be extended to the cloud? So we have really thought through that and made it enterprise ready. And obviously, as Frank and Andrew talked about, we are Oracle. We are Oracle in terms of we are leaders in data management, and we bring all the best of all data capabilities and experience we have to run business-critical application into the cloud across multiple services. And then we did not stop there. So we also wanted to make it more cloud-native friendly. So we wanted lots of DevOps services where you can have a simpler, easier resource management that's orchestrable not only within the cloud, but can also extend to your on-premise environment. We also have big data services where you can have a simple Hadoop deployed seamlessly or a serverless Spark deployed seamlessly. We have a very strong container-based ecosystem that you can deploy container-based applications on us. And finally, we have a very comprehensive marketplace ecosystem. We recognize in your on-premise environment, you run hundreds of applications that comes from hundreds of ISVs. So we give them a platform to make it available and deployable on our cloud. And it's not a point-in-time experience, right? We are innovating every day, right? For the last 3 months alone, we have pushed more than 14,000 changes to our cloud. Think about it. It's 14,000 changes. And it happened all day for the last 90 days. And more specifically, we have launched more than 100 large features and services to customers in the last 3 months alone. That means everybody who are using Oracle Cloud get those services and features instantaneously. And even more compelling here is the pace of innovation is accelerating. On average, we are adding more than 90% of big new features and capabilities on our platform. What this all means is we are going to give you a cloud that's not only optimized for building brand new cloud-native applications, but also to help you bring your existing applications to the cloud. Most of them are Oracle applications. Most of them are other ISV-centric business-critical applications. You can bring them as is to our cloud, where you can protect your existing investment. We call that as lift and shift, and where possible, lift and improve, where if you want to really auto-scale your web tier or an app tier, you can do that very seamlessly. So for the next 20 to 30 minutes, we are going to dive deep into how we are going to make that happen for you guys. As I said, regions, right? Bootstrapping a brand new cloud and building it across the globe is a monumental, monumental task that we undertook almost 4.5 years ago. End of last year, we have had 4 regions, each region where we had 3 data centers each. We call them as availability domains. They were separated by tens of kilometers. Average latency between the availability domains within a given region was around 1 millisecond, where you could build a highly available applications in a given region. Take Ashburn, for example. If you build an application, you can distribute resources across multiple availability domains, and you can make your application more resilient even when one of the ADs can go down. And you can also build a DR on it, because within a given geography, you have a second region. In North America, you have Phoenix, for example. You can have a disaster recovery outside of Ashburn to give you more disaster recovery capabilities. And then we added lots of points of presence with the acquisition of Dyn, who is a DNS provider. And on top of it, we also added more than 50 fast connect locations where you can essentially connect your on-premise data centers to our regions completely with a private line. As of today, we have added 4 more regions in the last few months. That is Toronto, South Korea, Mumbai, and of course, Tokyo, right? So the one innovation that we did in this progression is, instead of building 3 different data centers as a region, we built one region with the same intelligence of 3 AD. We call them as fault domains. Fault domains are also a physical separation where there are rooms within a data center. Where possible, they will have different cooling and power. And logically, when you launch a computer, you can say which fault domain you want your computer to be in. This allows you to build a same highly available application within a region, within one AD region, that is also one of the first within the industry. That brings to Tokyo, right? Even though we are talking about a big announcement of Tokyo data center launch, we made it available to most of the Japanese customer as of 8th May of this year, roughly 3 months ago. As you can see, we have more than 500 customers who are actively using Tokyo data center services already. We have seen that Tokyo has grown more than 3 times faster than any of our regions before. So there is a demand that we have not seen before. So thank you for all the customers who have made this happen. As you can imagine, this is a continual evolution for us. We are going to add more regions. We are going to invest a lot more to expand our regional presence across the globe. In fact, on average, we are going to build 1 region a month for the next 15 months, starting with Osaka, that will be there in the next few months. We are also expanding our region to Australia. We are also expanding our presence in multiple parts of Europe and also South America. But here also, one differentiated aspect I want you to take away is every region that we go to, there will be at least 2 data centers where you can have disaster recoverability, right? So you can essentially build your most mission-critical applications which have DR capability. We make it possible whether you build in Tokyo region or in Australia region or in South America region. So now let's dive deep into some of the core services. Again, compute is one of the foundational services that most customers use along with databases. And on average, if you exclude the database, customers pay roughly 70 to 80% of their overall bill on compute services. So it's the foundational thing of the infrastructure, and we believe we have redefined the market. And when we first launched our first bare metal cloud, as it was called before, we were the first one to do bare metal, not because it was easy, because it was very hard to do. And most enterprises absolutely wanted it, because that's how they did most of the mission-critical application in the on-premise environment. So we did that, and then we extended it to, we can easily do VMs. Whether you need 1-core VM or a 48-core VM, it's much easier to build on the same infrastructure. And then obviously, containers and functions, which is a serverless way of consuming compute resources, which I'll talk about later. But the foundation for all of this is also to use some of the known vendors, whether it's AMD EPYC line of processors, or Intel Xeons, or NVIDIA. So different flavors of compute that we offer on a foundational vendors that you already use in the on-premise environment. But the key differentiation here is we have spent a lot of time to make our compute service compelling for your existing on-premise environments. For example, we have a unique capability called bring your own image. If you have a computer running in your on-premise environment with a 15-year-old image that you can't find drivers for, we can run it on our cloud. Most other clouds say, no, it doesn't. It's not cloud native enough. We say, yeah, we can run it in an emulated mode, bring it on, because we want to enable you to do lift and shift. Similarly, we also have a notion called bring your own hypervisor, right? Since we provide VMs, customers have an opportunity to just use VMs, but if they want to use Hyper-V or KVM or Zen that they use in the on-premise environment, they can do that seamlessly, and we make it happen on our bare metal infrastructure. When you look at it in terms of the breadth of compute offering that we provide, and you overlay on some of the use cases that you normally do in the on-premise, there is no use case that you can't map to the compute service that we have. For example, if you have a simple web application which requires 2-core VMs or 8-core VMs on AMD backend or an Intel backend, we can do that. If you want to run a massive Hadoop farm, whether it is 10-node system or a 10,000-node system, we can make it available programmatically on a bare metal machine with local NVMe of up to 52 terabytes or on a simple VM. It's your choice. And most importantly, we are also market leaders in terms of opening up a new market in high-performance computing, where you have a massive CFD running or genomic sequencing that you do on a highly customized hardware in the on-premises. We can make it happen on our GPU infrastructure or on our high-frequency CPU offering, which are highly competitive. And then we also recognized when we started working with a lot of HPC customers is that providing more horsepower per core compute that they consume is very important. In this example, we worked with LS Dyna, one of the CFD market leaders, and they compared our bare metal cores to other VMs in the marketplace. And they said, hey, on average, you guys are 12 to 15% faster for my applications. That means when customers spend millions of dollars to run that software on a hardware, if it's 15% more efficient, it's really amazing. So the benefits of consuming bare metal is monumental for mission-critical applications. We are a database company. We recognize having highly available, highly reliable, highly performant storage is important. And again, we are also a cloud company now, and we also need to provide a highly diverse set of services. Whether you are doing a massive Hadoop farm on a local storage, we have local storage offering. We also have remote attached block storage, which is one of the industry-leading services that we have, which can offer up to 60 IOPS for a given gigabyte. That means on a 400 gigabyte storage LUN, you can have up to 24,000 IOPS, and you can attach multiple volumes on a given computer, and you can have up to 500,000 IOPS. Now, you can tell me there is no application that you run in the on-prem that need more than that performance. So we take performance very, very seriously. Same thing in terms of the other use cases that customers do. What if I'm doing massive parallel computing where tens of clusters and thousands of nodes are forming on a simple file system that's shared across all the nodes? Yes, we got NFS v3-based, highly distributed file system that's also performant, that's also highly price performant to meet your needs. So again, the same thing. Whether you want a simple archive storage or a simple object storage to store your static data, or you want to have a modern big data deployment where you are separating out storage from compute nodes, where you want to store all the data in object storage and have multiple compute cluster processing on it, it's fairly simple and possible on Oracle. You would think Oracle Cloud is good for Oracle-centric use cases. Apparently, you can do a lot more than Oracle Cloud than you ever imagined. And of course, our block storage is highly optimized to run Oracle workloads. And there is no OLTP workload that you can bring it and run it on Oracle Cloud that you run it in the on-premise. And more importantly, you can essentially bring the same workflows, right? If you have clones configured in the on-prem, we have the same clones, and the same workflows can be easily brought in and run on Oracle Cloud as well. Networking. So our goal in networking is to give you the same tools and the same features that you have it in the on-prem, where there is so much specialization goes in to make it run, make it secure, make it perform. And we make it simple, and we provide very high-quality services that emulate bunch of capabilities that you trust to run your business in the on-prem, starting with virtual cloud network, which programmatically allows you to create subnets, routing rules, firewalls, and ability to connect with Oracle cloud and your data centers using IPsec VPN or Fast Connect, you name it. And second, we also have highly programmatic and cost-effective load balancer as a service, which essentially gives you the same features such as end-to-end SSL support, terminate SSL on the web servers where load balancers are configured, and sticky sessions, some basic things that you expect from a load balancer, all available with a click of a button or from an API call. And then, as I talked about, we also have tons of services now in terms of edge networking, whether they are DDoS or web application firewall or DNS services, all built on the foundation of Dyn, which served a lot of enterprise customers for decades now. When you think of networking, it all comes down to connectivity, right? How do you connect your data center to Oracle Cloud? We do it through Fast Connect or IPsec VPN. Fast Connect is a big, fat private pipe that connects between your data centers and our data center that essentially make your ability to run everything in private subnet without really having a single internet gateway configured on your account. Second, you also need your, let's say, Japan data center having an ability to connect securely with other cloud regions to serve your globally distributed customers. We make it happen with a private backbone that is available between Tokyo and every other public region that we have across the globe. Third, there will be some web application that you want to make it available for your customers, but you need to secure them because there is an internet gateway configured, and we have tons of connectivity options where you can have DNS configured on your public IPs. You can protect them using WAF and DDoS. They're all simple, intuitive, and automatic. And lastly, which is not in the slide, is connectivity to other clouds, right? We recently announced Microsoft partnership where, starting with Ashburn, we have connectivity with Azure Cloud, where you can essentially build a highly intelligent application that can span across two clouds. So if you look at the length and breadth of connectivity options, there is no use case that you can think of that's possible with Oracle Cloud. Oracle is the first one to offer cluster networking. As I said, when we started thinking more deeply on what are the other performance-intensive applications that we need to offer, then a simple answer was we need to provide a stronger, high-performance network married to bare metal to open up a new market called HPC. Right? So what this basically is, we created a clustered network, which is RDMA-enabled, where you can launch a cluster of computers or a cluster of GPU servers that can essentially connect it to each other with a latency of 1.5 microsecond. It's not millisecond, it's 1.5 microsecond. So you can essentially run massive simulation in the cloud, right? Which is mind-boggling, which most thought impossible to do these kind of workloads in the cloud. This is not just a technology statement, right? We have spent a lot of time to invest in the ISVs that are required, such as ANSYS and Altair, and bunch of industry-leading CFD and simulation software. They are certified and qualified to run on us. And lastly, the other barrier that customers want to compare is, is it cheaper than me doing that in the on-premise environment? Of course, yes, right? The price performance is our strength, and this is where we have seen massive momentum, especially in Tokyo region, and we look forward to build more momentum on this as we gain traction with lots of the conversation that we are having today. As we talked about, one of the key differentiation here is security, right? Security is built from ground up, and it's focused on maximum isolation and protection. What that means is, when you look at Gen 1 Cloud, they were doing all the control plane investment and the cloud logic within the hypervisor. So all the network and I/O virtualization used to happen in the hypervisor. That means there is, the gray line between where the customer code is, where the provider code is. This is one of the foundational investment we made almost 4.5 years ago, is to separate that out, and we call that as off-box virtualization. That means when I provision a bare metal server to you, there is no provider code running on it because I'm doing all the I/O and network virtualization outside the box, outside your bare metal that I provision. That means we have zero provider code running on the bare metal that I provision to you. This is massive, right? This provides a clear and very comprehensive isolation that was not possible in the Gen 1 cloud. And as a good positive side effect, it also gives you the best performance, right? Because I'm not really consuming the I/O cycles and the CPU cycles that are wasted on managing hypervisors. And it's not just that, right? Security is very complicated, and we call it as core-to-edge security. That means when you think of an application, you need to think of at the data layer, the instance layer, the virtual networks that you configure, kind of security monitoring that you institutionalize, the edge services, especially when it's an internet-facing application, and finally, the identities and policies and cost management. They all come together, and there are over 50 discrete services and features that we offer for you to really fine-tune the security the way you like it, right? For example, we offer end-to-end encryption. We offer default storage encryption, but we also let you separate out encryption from key management, where you can have better isolation and better way of securing your application. Of course, database has its own set of key capabilities to separate out some of the data encryption capabilities. They have TDE, they have data masking, deep logging. So you can use them in association with all the infrastructure instrumentation that we offer to secure your application. And then, of course, you need compliance, right? This is one of the differentiators to be an enterprise cloud. Enterprises truly care about, do I have the right compliance so that I can go to my auditor and get approval to deploy those applications in the cloud? As you can see, globally, we have tons of compliance that are already available, and we have started with providing a bunch of compliance within Japan using starting with FIEC right now, and a lot more that are planned and will be available in the coming months. We are Oracle, and we do data management better than anybody, right? It all starts with our ability to connect with enterprise customers who are deploying mission-critical applications on Oracle stack. And this is where we partner with our database engineering team to truly marry the best of infrastructure with the best of database and give you the best experience of running and building application on Oracle Cloud. So I think about our database services in two dimensions. One, manageability. You can think of customer managed, where you can just bring your database, Oracle database, install it on a VM or BM, you manage it, you orchestrate it, you configure it, you patch it. It's completely your managed. We also have partially managed service, which we call it as DBaaS services, where you can have root access to the VM and BM, but the basic management capabilities of orchestrating, scaling, patching will take care of it. It's like a shared responsibility mode. And we also have fully managed autonomous database, where the only thing you care about, hey, give me an endpoint to access a database. Everything from orchestrating to tuning to performance optimization to securing is done by Oracle. The other way to think about database services is on the dimension of availability. This is a traditional way of thinking about it, where you can have a simple test dev and UAT environments on a single VM or a bare metal, where you don't need a rack for it. It's just a simple database that runs, and it functionally does what you want to do. But if you want a more secure and more available a two-node rack configuration and it's managed, we are going to give that as well. Whether it's a two-node rack on a VM or BM, it's available for you to consume. And then, of course, if you have a highly important mission-critical application, if you run it on Exadata, you want to move that to Oracle Cloud, we have got that as well. But the main focus in Oracle journey for the next few months is making autonomous compelling for you folks, right? This is the crown jewel of services that has set a new tone and the new conversation with most of the enterprise customers, because it is self-driving, self-tuning, everything that you can relate with autonomous. In other words, in a simplistic way, it essentially takes away any and all infrastructure and database automation, whether it's orchestration, monitoring, scaling, patching, performance tuning, you name it. It's all happening magically using AI and ML competencies that we have built in-house, and we are making the vast amount of knowledge that is available, and it's applicable to all the autonomous instances that you launch within Oracle Cloud. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. Tomorrow morning, Andy Mendelsohn from Database Engineering organization is going to spend more than an hour explaining you about how this is done and why it's compelling for you guys. But the key here is it is not a unique service, but it's part of the overall Oracle Cloud, and it's deeply integrated into our platform services, the governance model, and the performance capability that you have on any other service. It's available and applicable to database services as well. So the new requirement for an enterprise cloud is to not only have services that are compelling for lift and shift, but also make it compelling for customers to build modern cloud-native applications. We have more than 20 services that are built and tagged as cloud-native services. Some of them are listed here. But in my mind, right now, enterprises are trying to do two things, right? One, they're trying to build container-based applications where they want a fully managed Kubernetes cluster. They also want container registry. They also want container pipelines so they can automate their CI/CD pipelines. We got all three of them, where you don't have to go and build and orchestrate and manage a complex Kubernetes cluster with a click of a button. You can choose how many number of bare metal you need in your managed Kubernetes cluster, and only thing you need to go do is to start building those containerized applications. The second is serverless, right? Some people call this as event-driven programming. Again, we make it happen for you much more seamlessly, which is enterprise-grade, which has a deeper integration with events, API gateway, and functions. Functions is our equivalent to industry standard Lambda, as you may know it. Think of a scenario where you want to have a database update made in a table, trigger an event, and that event kind of transforms and runs a function, which is a simple Java code that you can write. And then every time that update happens, the function updates a metric on Oracle Analytics Cloud. You can automate everything with few simple clicks and few lines of code. Now imagine the kind of applications that you can build in few minutes. And the killer here is you don't have to launch a computer nor launch a cluster. You just need to write a few lines of code, and that's about it. Oracle is also committed to open source. Case in point, we were building a resource manager, which is equivalent to orchestration as a service. We had a choice to build a more proprietary JSON-based orchestration service. We didn't do that. We recognized that Terraform is the industry standard. We went to HashiCorp, who owns and runs Terraform. And we said we partnered with them, we pay them, and our resource manager is foundationally Terraform running underneath. That means if you are standardizing Terraform as an orchestration engine for your on-premise environment, you can very easily extend that and run Oracle Cloud as well. So these are kind of a simple examples where we are embracing open standards and open commitment to make life easier for enterprise customer. The second example is, I mentioned events, right? Events is a new language that most people and most clouds need to embrace to build some modern applications. What we did is, instead of building our own proprietary event engine, we went to Microsoft, we partnered with them, and we said, how about we create a joint standard? So we have ratified the event service that we have that works with Microsoft's, because both are CNCF ratified standard. What this means is, an event generated within Oracle Cloud can go trigger a function in Azure. This is game-changing, right? So this is where we are really pushing the industry to embrace standards to make life easier for customers. As I talked about it, our goal is to provide the most heterogeneous environment where customers can build wide variety of applications on our cloud. That means, yes, we are highly optimized to run Oracle workloads, but even sometimes Oracle workloads need certain third-party software to run with them, because that's how you have designed in the on-premise environment. So we have a cloud marketplace where we have hundreds of curated ISVs that are sometimes available as an image, sometimes available as a packaged solution. You can search and discover. Once you find them, click to deploy within your account, within your secure VCN environment. And then the most killer aspect of this is, once you do it, you can automatically pay the ISV software that you used for a given solution using the same UCM credits that you got, right? This is the most complete and thoughtful marketplace that is available in the cloud today. And marketplace is all about options and choices that you have, right? This is some simple representation of how I think about it. There is an Oracle-centric softwares. Frank called it as any Oracle IP that I sold you in the on-prem is available in the cloud. That's what it is. And we also embrace various operating systems that you can run on Oracle Cloud, whether it's Ubuntu or Microsoft Windows. In fact, here is a fun fact. Our customers run, on average, globally, more than 40% of the VMs and BMs that we run today, they run Windows. Go figure. And we are Oracle Cloud. And same thing with database, right? We have partnership with ScyllaDB or MongoDB or DataStax. You can run all those which are certified and qualified to run on Oracle Cloud. And finally, same thing with some of the security appliances. So we recognize you standardize on Palo Alto or Fortinet or Checkpoint. If you want to bring the same software to protect your application in our cloud, you can easily do it. Partner ecosystem also spans across system integrators. Here's another fun point. More than 60% of our truly large Fortune 500 customers deploy applications on Oracle Cloud using one or more system integrators. That means the behavior and the adoption of cloud is no different than how they are making design and deployment decisions in the on-prem. So we expect that to continue when they make decision to migrate and embrace cloud as well. And same thing here, where we are so humbled and honored to work with tons of SIs who are in Japan here, like NTT and NRI, who are not only bringing customers onto Oracle Cloud, but they themselves are using Oracle for certain use cases. As I alluded earlier, we recognize most enterprises embrace 2 or more clouds. This is the reality, right? So we made that possible by deeply collaborating with Microsoft, by bringing 2 clouds within each other with 3 factors to begin with, right? One, we interconnected the 2 clouds so that the latency between the 2 clouds is around 1.1 millisecond. It looked like an availability domain rather than 2 different independent clouds. We also integrated identity, so you can have a single sign-on where a an Active Directory account can essentially log into both clouds seamlessly without having to log in twice, and also common support framework, right? All these are required to make enterprise journey to the cloud fast and seamless. And we absolutely are bombarded with tons of customers wanting to do it across the globe. So even though it's only available in the North America right now, we are really working hard to make it available across the globe. So we talked about a lot of features and functions and capabilities of Oracle Cloud, but there is a general framework in which we think about making these services compelling and make enterprises' life easy. So this is where enterprise-grade SLAs come in. We provide the industry's best SLAs. We have availability SLAs, which is industry standard. For example, if you launch a computer, and if it's not available within a given month for 99.95% of the time, then we give you certain service credit back. But Oracle is the only cloud provider which gives you manageability SLAs. That means if you cannot launch a computer, or you cannot launch or list the services that you got within a given time frame, we think that's a bad experience. That means if you have an intelligent application that auto-scales with a customer load, if that doesn't work, then it's a failure on our part. So we are the first cloud to provide service credits on manageability experience on a cloud. And same thing with performance. I talked a lot about how much thought has given into making our storage performant and network performant, making non-blocking so that there is no oversubscription. Again, it's not just an engineering conversation. We are the only cloud which stand behind it, and if we don't perform as we advertise, we are going to give you the service credits back. Talking about performance, these are some absolute numbers, right? So this is like comparing our server to AWS standard servers, and simple measuring criteria, whether you measure compute performance in terms of teraflops, memory performance in terms of gigabytes per second, and block storage performance in terms of IOPS. Not even in the same ballpark. We are significantly faster. Block storage is 500% faster. But here's the killer. It's not only faster, it's significantly cheaper. That means you pay less for more. That rarely happens. And this is also very specific. You can go look it up online. It's the list prices of ours and AWS's. A standard compute of ours is around 7.66 yen, and AWS in North America pricing, it's around 11.51 yen. And same thing in terms of block storage, which is significantly cheaper and provides you the most predictable performance that in the industry today. Here, we're showing around 1 terabyte storage that offers 25,000 IOPS per month. So when you say what you are paying in Japan data center in other clouds, in Oracle, you pay the same price that you pay in North America. Most of the other cloud vendors charge you premium here in North America. Some are very significant. Some are as much as 40 to 50% more than what customers pay in North America. I don't know why, but this is a common practice. And when you're making a decision, it absolutely makes a huge difference when you compare what you get from Oracle in terms of infrastructure resources, and when you compare to what you pay in Japanese list price on Amazon, they are like, I can't even comprehend sometimes. They're significantly more. So this is something, we stand by this, where Oracle has one service, one price worldwide. This is not the same with most of the other vendors. And just to close the price performance story, it's not just unit computer and unit pricing. We also tested with, what if customer run a typical workload? This is a CFD model, ANSYS Fluent, running on a 28-node machine on Oracle standard machines and AWS's. And we can run 4x more simulation per day than Amazon, but you pay 87% cheaper at list prices. So this is absolutely going to make a difference in customer experience and also commercial experience that you're going to get in the cloud. In closing, we talked about Oracle's complete and no-compromise cloud, which is highly optimized for enterprises. We talked about some of the differentiations, including you pay less for more. Price performance is truly brilliant. And more importantly, we have spent a lot of time to make Oracle Cloud Services compelling for you to bring your existing applications as is to our cloud. We call it as lift and shift, because we want you to preserve your existing investment as much as possible. Right? This is not true for most other clouds. Second, when you're migrating or lift and shifting your existing application to the cloud, we provide you lots of opportunity for you to improve the experience by integrating auto-scaling for certain intelligent applications, for example. And lastly, you can increase the business agility by building new applications using new tools and cloud-native services much more easily and much more optimized services for enterprises where you can easily pass the governance and cost management exceptions within your enterprise boundaries. When you put it all together, it all comes down to our theme of bring your present and build your future. With that, thank you.